Hey people, I decided to do the probably final installment on my brake problem here on the Charger. We're sitting out here in the garage. It's down in the 40s now, October. So the car's up on jack stands, and decided to winterize the brakes here, which consists of me just taking the wheels off and the rear discs off, cleaning them up, and spraying them with some WD-40 so they don't rust over the winter, because I'm really sick of that happening. What's cool about these SSBC brakes is you can just take this plate off. This is an older set. I don't know how old they are now, from probably around 2005. But you can just take this stainless steel plate. It's got a little spring on the inside here. You just pop these two screws out, take this plate off, and you can put the new discs or take the old discs out from right here. You never have to take the caliper off. It's really, I like that. It's awesome. For quite a while, I didn't even realize that was an option with them, because I'm apparently a dumbass and didn't notice. But it makes it easy to be able to winterize everything like I did. Just clean off the surface rust here and spray these down. Obviously, in the spring, I'll have to clean them up good and make sure they're nice and oil free, but they won't rust anyhow. So, and there you see the spots that leak out of my pretty expensive Moroso oil pan with the drag link through it, because the asshole welder who made it didn't make sure the one seam in the pass-through hole was completely sealed. There's a tiny little pinhole in there and it drips oil. It's a pretty angry about that. So yeah, so the final installment about the brakes here, other than my winterization comments, are, let me pull this straight. I finally basically analyzed the whole setup. We got the SSBC gauge that you can thread into your bleeder port, and tested the pressure that was coming out of the master cylinder I have. You could also screw it in up here with adapters and stuff and test it directly from the master cylinder. But anyway, I was expecting to get, like, you know, only maybe 800 pounds or something on it from the way the car was stopping. But we got about 1,200 pounds for the front, and I can't exactly remember the number for the back. Maybe 1,000. I think we started with 800 for the back, and my father was under there, and he ended up cranking on the proportioning valve, the SSBC proportioning valve that's in there. He cranked on it a little harder, and he got, I think, almost another full turn out of it. I didn't crank on it that hard. I was afraid to strip the knob. So then we got another couple hundred to the rear, which is cool. But so I've driven it around a little bit, and it stops. It's not great. It's not horrific though. I do think the brakes might have to break in a little more. Here's one of the pads for the front. They appear to be some type of sintered cast iron in the pad or whatever, because it's metallic and it'll get dusty rust on it itself. It's magnetic. Maybe better pads would help with the initial bite. I'm not sure. But there's a combination of factors, I think, is making the car seem like it doesn't stop as good as I would like it to. The one is that it's disc brakes. There's no self-energization. Is that how you say that, or am I making up words? They don't self-energize anyhow, being a disc, like a drum does. Because this car stopped pretty good with drum brakes on all four corners. The other factor, I believe, is the size of all the tires. Because that's a 28-inch tall tire for the front, and there's 28-inch tires in the back. They're on the other side of the car over there. So effectively, you have a bigger lever, you know, acting upon the brake. I think that may be why I can't get the back to lock up, because you're trying to stop a bigger lever. Whether that factors into the stopping performance, I'm unsure of that. I don't know. But the fact is I can't get a bigger diameter disc underneath the rim. Oops. Plus the fact that I have the car's fairly heavy. So those three factors, no self-energization, no, maybe the pads aren't the best option, and the size of the tires and the weight of the car, all those together, I think create a car that feels like it doesn't stop that well. Now, as I drove it and I got a little bit more used to how hard you initially have to get on the pedal to slow the car down, I think that was a little bit of a factor too, was me in expecting the car to just slow down by lightly pressurizing it. And that's not really the case. When you want to get this thing slowed down, you have to dig into the brake pretty hard initially, and that'll kind of set everything and start to bring the car down. But so I guess hopefully next summer I'll get to drive it around some more and see if maybe the pads seat in a little better and I get used to it. See how good we can make this thing stop. But as far as mechanically, there's nothing wrong with the pressure. There's nothing wrong with the I thought maybe the line lock had a some type of restriction in there that was slowing down the pressure that was hitting the engine, or I'm looking at the engine, the pressure that was initially spiking up against, you know, the pads, but there's no restriction in there, so I don't know. It appears to be that I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with. I think one thing I could do possibly is put a bigger disc on the rear. I'd probably have more room for that under those big steel wheels I use, but I don't want to do that. I mean, the cost of that would be quite significant, and well, it would help though. You know what I mean? You'd have a lot bigger disc pulling against the big back tire. I could show you the size of these discs. I don't know if it'll really show up so well on the camera here. If I have anything in relationship to it, but that's the size of the rear brake rotor. This is a line that happened when they turned them. When one year they sat in the winter and they got really rusty, I had to have them turned. But it looks fairly big, but I mean, it's barely perceptible to your fingernail. It might be only, I don't know, 0.5 thousandths thick at the most. I don't think that is really gonna affect the braking because the pad printed right over it. It just, you can kind of, I don't know, I mean, you can see a shade above it, but it's almost, you almost don't feel it on your finger. It's weird anomaly. I've never seen that in having brakes turned before, but I don't think it's a big deal. So yeah, I guess I could put bigger pads on the back maybe, and help get some more drag down from the rear. Maybe you could probably put big enough discs in the back until you started dragging the back tire, and then use that proportioning valve to tweak a little bit out of it, and that might help slow the whole shebang down some. But I don't know if I'd need some type of different calipers as well, or different adapters to push the calipers out farther. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to incur that much expense right now, but anyhow, I don't want to start rambling on this video, so happy winter. Make sure you got good antifreeze in your cars. Later.